The cold metal pressed against Taeyang's wrists. Heavy chains wrapped around his arms and legs, meant for creatures much stronger than any human. He sat in the corner of his cell, head down, eyes half closed. The dim blue lights flickered overhead, casting strange shadows on the dark walls. 3 years. That's how long he had been here, on this prison ship called the Eternal Hold. 3 years of silence. 3 years of watching. 3 years of waiting. The cell door hissed open. Taeyang didn't move. He knew what was coming. It happened every few weeks when new prisoners arrived. 4 heavy footsteps approached. Vorxes, the warden, stood in the doorway. The alien was massive, with 4 thick arms and gray-green skin that looked like stone. 2 small eyes sat on top of his head, while 2 larger ones watched from what humans would call a face. "Come," Vorxes said in the common tongue. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Time for the new ones to see you." Guards grabbed Taeyang's chains and pulled him up. He moved slowly, like a puppet with cut strings. His feet dragged on the floor as they led him through the narrow corridors. Other prisoners watched from behind energy barriers. Some were tall and thin, with too many joints in their arms. Others looked like walking rocks or floating jellies. All of them were dangerous. All of them were broken. The parade ground was a large, open space in the center of the ship. New prisoners stood in lines, their chains freshly attached. They looked scared. Some looked angry. None of them looked at Taeyang with any interest at first. "Look at this," Vorxes announced, pointing at Taeyang with one of his 4 hands. "This is human. 3 cycles ago, humans thought they were special. They thought they were strong." He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Now look. Silent. Broken. Weak." The new prisoners stared. Taeyang kept his head down, but his eyes were open just enough to see everything. He counted them. 15 new prisoners. 3 were human. His heart beat a little faster, but his face showed nothing. Vorxes grabbed Taeyang's jaw with one massive hand and lifted his face. This one was a soldier, a warrior. Now he is nothing. Remember this when you think about escape. Remember this when you think about fighting back. The warden threw Taeyang to the ground. The chains rattled. Guards laughed. New prisoners looked away. The show was over. Back in his cell, Taeyang sat in his corner again. But something was different. 3 new humans meant news. News meant information. Information meant hope. Hours passed. The ship's systems hummed their familiar song. Taeyang had learned every sound this ship made. He knew when engines changed speed. He knew when doors opened 3 decks away. He knew when guards changed shifts. A small sound came from the wall. A tap. Then another. Someone in the next cell was trying to communicate. Taeyang waited. Patience was his greatest weapon now. More taps came. Then a voice. Barely a whisper through the small air vent. "Are you alive in there?" Female voice. Human. Young, maybe 30 years old. Taeyang said nothing. He hadn't spoken in 847 days. "Why start now? I know you can hear me." The voice continued. "My name is Yuna. I was an engineer on Research Station Kyoto. The station was destroyed 2 weeks ago. I was one of 5 survivors." Silence. "They say you've been here 3 years. They say you don't talk anymore. They say you gave up." Taeyang's jaw tightened, but he made no sound. "I understand," Yuna whispered. "I've seen what they do. I've heard the screams, but I need you to know something. Earth is still fighting. The colonies are still fighting." Something stirred in Taeyang's chest, a feeling he had buried deep. "It's bad out there," Yuna continued. "We're losing ground. The aliens are too strong, too many. But there are resistance cells, brave people fighting back with whatever they have." Taeyang closed his eyes. He remembered the day he was captured. The colony ship full of refugees, the alien attack, his team of 12 soldiers holding the line so the ship could escape. They all died. All except him. "There's one cell that's been very successful," Yuna said. They hit supply lines, rescue prisoners, steal weapons. The aliens call them ghosts. Their leader is someone named Hana. Taeyang's eyes opened wide. His sister's name. His heart pounded like a war drum. Hana leads 30 fighters. They say she's fearless. They say she fights for her brother, a soldier who was captured protecting refugees. She believes he's still alive somewhere. The chains around Taeyang's wrists felt lighter. The darkness of his cell felt less heavy. "I thought you should know," Yuna whispered. "Even if you can't fight anymore, even if you've given up, someone out there hasn't given up on you." The air vent went silent. Yuna said no more. Taeyang sat in the darkness. His mind raced. Hana was alive. His baby sister, who used to be afraid of thunderstorms. The girl he taught to shoot when she was 15. The woman who joined the Colonial Defense Force despite his protests. She was alive and fighting. For 3 years he had waited. For 3 years he had watched and learned. He knew this ship better than the guards who worked here. He knew every weakness, every pattern, every flaw. He had been patient because he had nothing to fight for. Everyone he loved was dead or gone. But now, things were different. Taeyang looked down at his chains. Heavy metal links designed to hold creatures 3 times his strength. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought chains and fear could break the human spirit. They were wrong. His lips moved for the first time in 847 days. His voice was rough, barely more than a whisper. But the word came out clear enough for Yuna to hear through the vent. "Where?" In the next cell, Yuna gasped. "What?" Taeyang spoke again, each word deliberate. "Where is Hana?" "She's operating in the outer reach," Yuna answered quickly. "Near the mining colonies. But she's planning something big, something desperate. They need information about alien weapons depots. The kind of information only found on military ships like this one." Taeyang nodded slowly. He looked at his hands, still bound in chains. Then he looked at the door of his cell. Then at the walls that had held him for 3 years. The Reaper had been sleeping. But the Reaper was waking up. And when the Reaper woke, the aliens would learn what it meant to chain a human who had nothing left to lose. The prison ship's morning alarm blared through the corridors. Taeyang opened his eyes. For the first time in 3 years, they held purpose. "You're really alive," Yuna's voice came through the vent. She sounded amazed. "I thought maybe I imagined it last night." Taeyang stood up slowly. His muscles ached from years of sitting still. The chains rattled as he moved to the center of his cell. "Hana needs the cargo manifest," he said. His voice was rough from lack of use. "The ship's computer has locations of every alien supply depot in this sector." "Impossible," Yuna whispered. "The manifest is protected by 3 layers of security. The only access terminal is on the bridge. Even if you could get out of your cell, you'd never reach it." "I will." "How?" "You're chained. You're locked in. There are 50 guards on this ship." 53, Taeyang corrected. "Plus Vorxes and 2 pilots. Shift changes happen every 8 hours. The bridge is protected by 4 guards during day shift, 6 during night. The ventilation system connects every cell block to engineering. The power core runs maintenance cycles every 72 hours, causing a 3-minute gap in sensor coverage." Yuna was silent for a long moment. "You've been counting, watching, learning. For 3 years. Why didn't you escape before?" Taeyang tested his chains, pulling slowly to feel their strength. "I had nowhere to go. No ship fast enough to outrun them. No coordinates for safe ports. No reason to risk it. And now? Now I have a reason." The cell door suddenly opened. 2 guards stood there, both of the tall, thin species with too many arms. They looked nervous. "Warden wants you," one said in broken common tongue. "Says you make noise. Says you talk." They grabbed his chains and pulled him into the corridor. Other prisoners watched as he passed. Some recognized the change in his walk. Where before he dragged his feet, now he stepped with purpose. Where before his head hung low, now he looked straight ahead. The warden's office was deep in the ship's belly. Vorxes sat behind a metal desk, his forearms folded, his many eyes watching Taeyang carefully. "So?" the warden rumbled. "The pet has found his voice." Taeyang said nothing. 3 years of silence, and now you speak. "Why? Why do you care?" Vorxes leaned forward. "Because humans who give up are useful. Humans who hope are dangerous." He pointed at a screen on the wall. It showed Taeyang's military file. I know what you were. Reaper, they called you. One human holding a mountain pass against 500 of my kind for 72 hours. 523, Taeyang corrected quietly. I counted them. The warden's eyes narrowed. You think you're special. You think one word from a new prisoner can bring back your fighting spirit? He stood up, towering over Taeyang. Let me show you how wrong you are. Vorxes nodded to the guards. They beat Taeyang with shock batons. Pain exploded through his body. He fell to his knees but made no sound. They hit him again and again. His ribs cracked. Blood filled his mouth, but through the pain, Taeyang counted. 6 hits with the left baton, 4 with the right. The left guard favored his upper arms for strikes. The right guard went for the legs, patterns, weaknesses, information. Take him to solitary, Vorxes ordered. Heaviest chains. No light, no sound. Let him think about his sister dying while he rots in the dark. The guards dragged Taeyang through the ship. Prisoners watched in silence. But something had changed. The humans stood a little straighter. Their eyes held a spark that wasn't there before. In one cell, a man with gray hair and tired eyes pressed against the barrier. His name was Jinwoo, a former pilot. He had been here 2 years. In another cell, a woman with short black hair and careful hands watched Taeyang pass. Her name was Sora. She had been a medic before the aliens destroyed her hospital ship. They saw what the guards didn't see. Taeyang wasn't being broken. He was measuring, counting, planning. Solitary confinement was at the bottom of the ship where the engine noise was loudest. The cell was small and dark. The chains they put on Taeyang were twice as heavy as before. The door sealed with a hiss, complete darkness. Complete silence except for the engine hum. Taeyang waited until the guard's footsteps faded. Then he moved his chains in a specific pattern. Tap, tap, pause, tap, pause, tap, tap, tap. Morse code, an ancient Earth language that used sounds to communicate. Nothing happened. He tried again. Tap, tap, pause, tap, tap, tap. Still nothing. Hours passed. Taeyang didn't stop. He repeated the pattern over and over. It was a code, a password, something a friend had told him years ago before the war. A human hacker named Minji who could break into any system. She said she would leave gifts in alien computers, just in case. If you're ever trapped, she had told him over drinks one night. Look for Echo, she'll be waiting. On the 347th attempt, something answered. A soft voice, female, came from the wall speaker. Password accepted. Echo system online. Hello, Taeyang. He almost smiled. Minji, you brilliant fool. Minji is no longer operational, the AI said. Her voice was sad. She died in the first wave of the invasion. But she programmed me before her death. I have been waiting for someone to activate me. Are you ready to begin?
What can you do?
I have limited access to ship systems. I can cause small malfunctions. Open certain doors for brief periods. Create false sensor readings. But I cannot override major systems or access the bridge. Can you communicate with other cells? Yes, through the internal comm system I can reach any prisoner without alerting guards. Do it. Connect me to the humans first. Then any alien prisoners who might listen. Over the next hour, Echo connected Taeyang to every cell in the prison. He spoke to each prisoner carefully. Some didn't trust him. Some thought he was crazy. But he told them about guard patterns. About weak points in the ship. About the food delivery schedule that left certain corridors unguarded for 5 minutes every day. Jinwoo, the pilot, listened carefully. You have a plan. I have the beginning of a plan, Taeyang corrected. I need time to build strength. These chains have kept me weak. I need exercises, food, information. The ship is heading to Tarthos Prime, a deep voice interrupted. It was one of the alien prisoners, a rock-like creature named Dex. Mining facility. Hard labor until death. 2 days until arrival. Then we have 2 days, Taeyang said. To do what? Sora asked. Breakout? We'll die. Maybe, Taeyang admitted. But maybe we take some of them with us. Maybe we get information to people who can use it. Maybe we save lives. Maybe isn't good enough, another prisoner argued. It's all I have, Taeyang said quietly. But I know this ship. I know its patterns. And I have something they don't expect. What's that? Jinwoo asked. 3 years of patience, 3 years of observation, and a reason to fight. Yuna's voice came through, quiet but strong. Tell us what to do. Taeyang closed his eyes in the darkness. He pictured the ship in his mind. Every corridor, every vent, every guard post. The humans thought of him as broken. The aliens thought of him as weak. They were about to learn why humans called him Reaper. Echo, he said, send a message to my sister. Code it so only she can read it. Tell her not to come for us. Why? Yuna asked. Taeyang tested his new chains, feeling their weight. Because we're coming to her. In cells throughout the ship, prisoners who had given up began to hope. In the darkness of solitary, a human began to plan. And deep in the ship's computer, an AI built by a dead hacker started to wake up systems that had slept for years. The Reaper was done waiting. Now it was time to teach the aliens what humans did when you pushed them too far. 2 days wasn't much time, but Taeyang had learned that humans could do impossible things when they had no choice. In the darkness of solitary, he worked. Echo controlled the temperature in his cell, making it colder then hotter. The changes forced his body to adapt to work harder. He did exercises using the weight of his chains. Push-ups with hands bound, squats with leg irons pulling him down. His muscles screamed, but he didn't stop. Incoming transmission, Echo said after the first day. Coded message from Hana. Play it. Static crackled, then his sister's voice filled the small cell. Taeyang, if this is really you, don't be stupid. We're coming. 30 ships, everything we have. We'll get you out. She can't, Taeyang said. The ship has defensive weapons. 30 resistance fighters won't be enough. Message continues, Echo said. Hana's voice shook slightly. I know it's been 3 years. I know you might be different. But you're my brother. I'm not leaving you there. Taeyang closed his eyes. He could picture her face, determined, stubborn, just like when they were kids and she refused to give up on anything. Send response, he told Echo. Tell her to wait for my signal. Tell her we're bringing the ship to her. That is impossible, Echo stated. You cannot take control of the ship. No, but we can make it go where we want. Through Echo, Taeyang organized the prisoners. Each one had a role. Jinwoo would lead the team to the hangar bay. He knew ships, knew how to pilot anything that flew. Sora would take a group to medical. They needed supplies, and she knew which alien medicines worked on humans. Yuna would lead the bridge assault. She was an engineer, smart and fast. If anyone could crack the security on the cargo manifest, it was her. Dex and the other alien prisoners had their own mission. The engine room. If they could override the navigation system, they could steer the ship. What about you? Yuna asked through the comm system. You're still in solitary. I'll handle Vorxes, Taeyang said. When the time comes, Echo will open my cell. I'll make sure the warden can't call for reinforcements. He's twice your size with 4 arms, Sora pointed out. And you haven't fought in 3 years. I've been fighting in my head every day for 3 years. Trust me, hours ticked by. Echo worked her magic, making small changes throughout the ship. A door that wouldn't quite lock. A sensor that went dark for a few seconds. A comm system that had strange delays. Nothing obvious. Nothing that raised alarms. But each change was a piece of the puzzle. On the second day, prisoners noticed guards acting strange. They checked systems more often. They talked in worried voices. Something was wrong, but they couldn't figure out what. Power core maintenance cycle begins in 1 hour, Echo announced. 3 minutes of reduced sensor coverage as scheduled. That's our window, Taeyang said. Everyone ready? Voices came back through the system. Scared voices, determined voices, angry voices. But all of them said yes. One more thing, Taeyang added. Some of us won't make it. If you want to stay in your cell, no one will judge you. This is a choice. Silence filled the comm for a moment. Then Jinwoo laughed. We're already dead if we go to the mines. At least this way we die fighting. For freedom. Dex rumbled in his deep voice. For Earth, Yuna said. For everyone who didn't make it this far, Sora added. Taeyang felt something warm in his chest. Pride. Hope. Things he thought he'd lost. The hour passed slowly. Guards changed shifts. The prison ship moved through dark space toward Tarthos Prime. In his cell, Taeyang stretched his muscles one last time. The chains felt lighter now. Or maybe he felt stronger. 30 seconds to maintenance cycle, Echo warned. Taeyang stood by the door. Ready. 20 seconds. He breathed slowly, deeply, calm before the storm. 10 seconds. His heart beat steady and strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Initiating. The lights flickered. For 3 seconds, everything went dark. Then emergency lights came on, casting red shadows everywhere. Cell doors throughout the ship hissed open. Not all of them, just the ones Echo had marked. The ones with prisoners who had agreed to fight. Taeyang's door slid up. He stepped into the corridor for the first time in a day. 2 guards stood nearby, looking confused at their displays. He moved fast. Chains wrapped around the first guard's neck before the alien could scream. The heavy links crushed his throat. The second guard raised an alarm baton, but Taeyang kicked his knee backward. Bone snapped. The guard fell. The chains came down on his head. "All teams move now," Taeyang said into the comm. Throughout the ship, chaos erupted, but it was controlled chaos. Prisoners moved in groups following the routes Taeyang had planned. They knew which corridors to take. They knew which guards would be where. Jinwoo's team hit the hangar bay. 5 guards met them. The prisoners had no weapons, but they had numbers and desperation. They swarmed the guards, taking their weapons, their armor, their lives. Sora's team reached medical. The doctor on duty, a floating jellyfish creature, barely had time to sound an alarm before they were on him. Sora moved through the supplies like a professional, grabbing medicines, tools, anything useful. Yuna's team faced the hardest fight. The bridge was protected by energy barriers and armed guards. But Echo had a surprise. She opened an air vent that led directly behind the guard post. Yuna and 3 others crawled through, coming up behind the defenders. The fight was brutal and quick. Aliens died, humans died, but the prisoners won. Dex led the alien rebels to the engine room. The engineers there didn't even fight. They surrendered immediately, smart enough to know when they were beaten. Taeyang moved through the ship like a ghost. Prisoners saw him and took courage. Guards saw him and felt fear. The chains around his wrists became weapons. He spun them, whipped them, strangled with them. Word spread fast. The Reaper is free. Borxes heard the alarms in his office. He watched security screens showing his ship falling apart. His 4 hands clenched into fists. "All guards to the warden's office," he commanded. "We make our stand here." But Echo redirected his message. The guards heard different orders, sending them to empty corridors and locked rooms. Only 2 guards made it to the office. The door exploded inward. Taeyang stood there covered in blood. Some was his. Most wasn't. The chains hung from his wrists, dripping red. "You," Forces growled. "Me," Taeyang agreed. The warden charged. 4 arms reached for Taeyang. The human ducked under the first swing, rolled past the second. The chains wrapped around one of Vorxes' arms. Taeyang pulled hard, using the alien's strength against him. They crashed into the wall. Vorxes was bigger, stronger, but Taeyang was faster. And he was angry. 3 years of silent anger poured out in every strike. The fight destroyed the office. Furniture broke. Screens shattered. Blood painted the walls. Forces landed heavy blows that cracked Taeyang's ribs, split his skin. But the human didn't stop. "Couldn't stop. You wanted to break me," Taeyang said, dodging another swing. "You wanted to prove humans were weak." He caught 2 of the warden's arms in his chains, binding them. "You showed me to prisoners as a trophy," Taeyang continued, his voice cold. "You told them I was nothing." He pulled the chains tight, bringing Vorxes to his knees. "Did you really think I was broken?" Taeyang leaned close to the warden's face. "Or was I just waiting for the right moment?" The chains wrapped around Vorxes' thick neck. "This is for every human you tortured, every hope you crushed, every dream you killed." The warden struggled, but the chains were designed for creatures stronger than him. His own weapons turned against him, and this, Taeyang pulled with all his strength, "is for making me wait 3 years." Vorxes' neck snapped. The massive body fell forward, dead before it hit the ground. Taeyang stood there, breathing hard, bleeding from a dozen wounds. His chains finally fell away from the warden's neck. He looked at them for a long moment. Then he smiled. "Echo," he said, "how are the other teams?" "Hangar secured. Medical secured. Bridge secured. Engine room secured. The ship is ours." "Good. Set course for the coordinates I'm sending you, and open a channel." "Channel open." Taeyang spoke clearly into the comm. "This is Taeyang to all prisoners. The ship is ours. We're going home." Cheers erupted throughout the vessel. Humans and aliens alike celebrated their freedom. "But," Taeyang continued, "we're not safe yet. Alien reinforcements will come. We have one chance to do this right." His voice grew harder. We're taking the ship straight to the alien staging facility. We're going to hit them where it hurts, and we're going to make sure Hana gets the information she needs. The celebration quieted. Everyone understood what he was saying. Some of us won't survive. Maybe none of us will. But we'll die free, and we'll die fighting. After a pause, Jinwoo's voice came through. Then let's make it count. Taeyang looked at the dead warden, at the chains on his wrists, at the blood on his hands. The Reaper wasn't done yet, not by far. The Eternal Hold limped through space. Smoke drifted through some corridors. Bodies lay where they fell, both alien and prisoner. The ship bore the scars of the uprising, but it flew. On the bridge, Yuna worked at the main terminal. Her fingers moved fast across alien controls. The cargo manifest is encrypted better than I thought. It's going to take time. We don't have time, Taeyang said. He stood near the view screen watching the stars. Echo, how long until we reach the staging facility? 4 hours at current speed, the AI replied. Alien reinforcements detected. They will intercept in 3 hours. Jinwoo sat at the pilot station, his hands steady on the controls. This ship isn't built for combat. It's a transport. We have basic weapons, but nothing against military ships. Taeyang nodded. He'd known this would be hard. How many fighters does this ship carry? 8 in the hangar bay. Small attack craft meant for guard patrols. Can you fly them? Can I fly them? Jinwoo laughed. I can fly anything. But 8 fighters against an alien fleet? That's suicide. Everything we're doing is suicide, Sora said from the medical station. She was treating wounded prisoners, moving between humans and aliens with equal care. We knew that when we started. Taeyang turned to face the bridge crew. 15 people, human and alien, working together. They looked tired, scared, but not broken. Here's the plan, he said. We set the ship on a collision course with the staging facility. Autopilot controlled by Echo, the ship will be a missile. And us? Dex asked. The rock-like alien stood near the engineering controls. Fighters provide cover while the evacuation ships escape. Everyone who can't fight gets on transport ships and runs. Jinwoo and I take volunteers for the fighter wing. We hold off alien reinforcements long enough for the others to get away. Yuna looked up from her terminal. That's insane. You'll be outnumbered 100 to 1. Probably more, Taeyang agreed. But if we time it right, the staging facility's destruction will create enough chaos. Some of you will make it. Some? A human prisoner named Kyung said. He was young, maybe 25. What about you? Taeyang smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I'm the Reaper. I'll be fine, no one believed him. He didn't expect them to. I need 6 volunteers for fighters, he said. Echo can teach basic controls, but it won't be easy. I'll go, Kyung said immediately. Me too, Dex rumbled. 4 more prisoners volunteered. 2 humans, 2 aliens. They all knew what it meant. The rest of you, get to the evacuation ships. Take the wounded first. Take the weak. Take anyone who can't fight. Yuna, can you crack that manifest? Give me 2 more hours. You have 3. After that, we launch. The next hours passed in a blur of preparation. Prisoners who could walk helped those who couldn't. Sora worked miracles with limited supplies, patching up wounds that should have been fatal. Dex and his alien friends got the engines running at full power. In the hangar bay, Jinwoo taught the volunteers how to fly the fighters. The controls were simple enough. Point, shoot, try not to die. These ships are fast but weak, Jinwoo explained. 1 good hit and you're done. Stay mobile. Don't let them target lock. And for the love of Earth, don't try to be a hero. Kyung laughed nervously. Isn't that exactly what we're doing? Heroes die, Jinwoo said seriously. Survivors run away. We're here to give everyone time to be survivors. Taeyang suited up in a fighter pilot's armor. It was too big, made for aliens, but it would protect him from vacuum if his ship got breached. He ran system checks, tested weapons, reviewed flight controls. Incoming transmission, Echo announced. It's Hana. Taeyang's heart jumped. Put her through. His sister's face appeared on the screen. She looked older than he remembered, harder, but her eyes were the same. Taeyang. Her voice broke slightly. Is it really you? Hey, little sister. She laughed and cried at the same time. You sound terrible. Prison food isn't great. I'm coming to get you. I have ships, weapons. No, Taeyang interrupted. We're coming to you, but you need to be at these coordinates. He sent her the location. 3 hours. Have your ships ready to receive evacuees. Hana's eyes narrowed. Evacuees? What are you doing? Something stupid. Something necessary. He smiled at her. I learned from the best. Don't you die on me, Hana said fiercely. I've been looking for you for 3 years. You don't get to be a hero and disappear. I'll try my best. Taeyang, 3 hours, Hana, be ready. And tell the Resistance the Reaper says hello. He cut the transmission before she could argue more. Alien ships detected, Echo warned. They're ahead of schedule. Contact in 90 minutes, Yuna. Taeyang called, almost done. Just got it. She pulled a data chip from the terminal. Full cargo manifest. Every weapons depot, supply line, and military installation in this sector. This is huge. Get it on an evacuation ship. Make sure it reaches Hana. I'm going with you, Yuna said. No, you're too important. That data needs to get to the Resistance. Then you take it. I can fly a fighter. Taeyang looked at her, saw the determination in her face, realized she wouldn't back down. Fine, but you follow Jinwoo's orders exactly. Deal. The evacuation began. 3 transport ships filled with prisoners. Over 200 souls, human and alien, who'd been slaves hours ago. They launched from the hangar, engines burning bright as they fled. The fighter wing prepared to launch. 8 small ships against an army. Echo, Taeyang said from his cockpit. Set the collision course. Override all safety protocols. This ship hits that facility no matter what. Course set. Impact in 70 minutes. Send a message to all remaining crew. They have 5 minutes to get to escape pods. Message. Sent. Taeyang watched on his scanners as the last crew members fled the eternal hold. The ship that had been his prison for 3 years was now a weapon. Fighter wing. Sound off. Jinwoo called over the comm. 2 ready. 3 ready. 4 ready. 1 by 1, the volunteers confirmed. Taeyang was last, 8 ready. Let's show them what prisoners can do. The fighters launched. They shot from the hangar bay like bullets, forming up around the massive prison ship. Behind them, the evacuation transports burned toward safety. Ahead, alien reinforcements approached. Contact in 5 minutes, Echo said. 20 enemy ships, fighter class, heavily armed. 20 to 8, Kyung said. Not the worst odds I've heard. You haven't heard many odds, have you? Dex asked. First time flying. First time fighting in space. First time probably dying. It's been a big day. Despite everything, Taeyang smiled. Humans found humor in the darkest places. It's what made them strong. Enemy ships entering range, Jinwoo warned. Here they come. Space erupted in light. Energy weapons lit up the darkness. The alien ships came in fast, spreading out to surround the fighter wing. Break formation, Taeyang commanded. Don't let them pin you down. The 8 fighters scattered. Taeyang's ship danced between enemy fire, his hands moving automatically. 3 years of inactivity meant nothing. His body remembered. His instincts remembered. He lined up a shot and fired. An alien fighter exploded in a ball of flame that died instantly in the vacuum. That's 1, he called. The battle became a blur of movement and violence. Fighters wheeled and spun. Weapons fired. Ships exploded. The evacuating transports kept moving. Protected by the desperate stand of 8 volunteers, I'm hit, one of the aliens called. His ship trailed smoke and sparks. Get to an escape pod, Jinwoo ordered. No pods on these ships. We fly until we die. The wounded fighter threw himself at 3 enemy ships, exploding in a massive fireball that took 2 of them down. 7 fighters left. 16 enemies. Kyung fought like he'd been born in space. His ship wove impossible patterns, dodging fire that should have killed him. He took down 3 ships before one caught him from behind. His fighter disintegrated. 6 fighters. 13 enemies. Transports clear, Echo announced. They've jumped to hyperspace. Survivors away. That's it then, Yuna said. Her ship was trailing smoke, but still fighting. We did it. Not done yet, Taeyang said. Staging facility in 10 minutes. Let's make sure this ship reaches it. The remaining fighters formed up around the eternal hold. The massive prison ship barreled toward its target, unstoppable now. Alien ships tried to destroy it, but the fighter wing kept them back. More volunteers died. A human named Bora, an alien whose name Taeyang never learned. They bought time with their lives. 3 fighters left. Taeyang, Jinwoo, and Yuna. 7 enemy ships. My fuel's almost gone, Jinwoo reported. Weapons at 15%. Same here, Yuna added. Taeyang checked his own systems. Critical damage across the board. 1 more minute. That's all we need. The eternal hold crossed into the staging facility's defense perimeter. Alarms blared on alien stations. Ships scrambled to intercept. Too late. Much too late. The prison ship, that symbol of human defeat, crashed into the heart of the alien military installation. The explosion lit up space like a new sun. Secondary explosions followed as fuel depots and ammunition stores went up. The staging facility, which supplied a quarter of the alien fleet in this sector, ceased to exist. Holy, Yuna whispered. That's for Earth, Taeyang said quietly. Retreat, Jinwoo called. Get to minimum safe distance. The 3 battered fighters tried to escape. But the alien ships weren't giving up. They chased, firing everything they had. I can't shake them, Yuna screamed. Taeyang saw 3 ships lock onto her. He made a choice. Threw his fighter between Yuna and the enemy, took the hits meant for her. Darkness, cold, the sound of his own heartbeat. Taeyang floated in space. The ejection seat had protected him from the explosion, but now he was alone in the void. His suit's oxygen would last maybe an hour. No ship, no way home. Just stars in every direction. He'd made his choice. Saved Yuna, destroyed the staging facility. Given the resistance the information they needed. His sister was safe, it was enough. Taeyang, a voice crackled in his helmet. Jinwoo. Taeyang, respond. He considered staying silent, letting his friend think he was already dead. But that seemed cruel. I'm here, he said. Suit's intact. Just floating. We're coming for you. Don't. The alien ships are running away. Yuna interrupted. The facility's destruction scared them. They're retreating. Taeyang watched his oxygen gauge. 43 minutes left. You can't reach me in time. My ejection seat's thrusters are gone. I'm drifting away from you. Then we'll drift with you, Jinwoo said. Yuna, match his trajectory. Already on it. Don't be stupid, Taeyang argued. You need to meet Hana. Get that data to the resistance. Echo already transmitted it, Yuna said. Your sister has everything. The mission's complete, then go. I'm not worth— Shut up! Jinwoo cut him off. You don't get to tell us you're not worth saving. Not after you saved all of us. The minutes ticked by. Taeyang watched his oxygen counter drop. 30 minutes, 20, 15. He thought about his life. The war, the prison, the 3 years of silence. Had it all meant something? Or was he just another soldier who died far from home? Contact, Yuna shouted. Ships incoming. Taeyang's heart sank. More aliens. They'd all die out here. But the ships that appeared weren't alien. They were human. 30 vessels, battered and patched together, bearing the marks of the resistance. And at the front, a cruiser with Hana's command codes. Little brother. His sister's voice filled his helmet. You really know how to make an entrance. Taeyang laughed. Actually laughed. You weren't supposed to come this close to the fight. Since when do I listen to you? The cruiser moved alongside him. An airlock opened. Hands reached out, pulling him inside. Jinwoo and Yuna were already there, grinning like idiots. The airlock sealed. Pressure returned. Taeyang removed his helmet and took a deep breath of recycled air. It tasted like freedom. The inner door opened. Hana stood there. 3 years older, battle-worn, but still his sister. They didn't speak. She just grabbed him in a hug that probably cracked his already broken ribs. He hugged her back. I thought you were dead, she whispered. I was dead. Just took me a while to realize I could come back. She pulled back and punched his arm. Hard. Don't ever do that again. Which part? All of it. The sacrifice play. The hero stuff. The almost dying in space and can't promise that. She punched him again, then hugged him again. Around them, resistance fighters watched. Some smiled. Some cried. They'd all lost people. Seeing someone come back meant something. A medic led Taeyang to the medical bay. Sora was there, having arrived on one of the evacuation ships. She examined him with practiced efficiency. Broken ribs, radiation exposure, malnutrition, dehydration, various contusions and lacerations. She looked at him seriously. You should be dead. Yeah, I get that a lot. I'm serious. Your body's been through hell. You need rest, real food. Time to heal. How long? Months. At least, Taeyang shook his head. Don't have months. The data we got shows alien supply lines, weak points. If we hit them now, we can make a difference. Let someone else fight, Sora said gently. You've done enough. But Hana stepped into the medical bay. He's right. The data is incredible. We know where every major weapons depot is in this sector. Every supply convoy route. Every weak installation. She looked at her brother. But Sora's right too. You can't fight in this condition. Then tell me what I can do, Hana smiled. You can teach. Half our fighters are volunteers with no real training. They fight hard, but they don't fight smart. They need someone to show them how to survive. I'm not a teacher. You held a mountain pass for 3 days against impossible odds. You survived 3 years in an alien prison without breaking. You just took over a ship with prisoners who had nothing but hope. Hana squeezed his shoulder. You're exactly what we need. Over the next month, Taeyang recovered. Slowly, his body healed. He ate real food, slept in a real bed, but he didn't rest. He taught resistance fighters everything he knew: tactics, strategy, how to read enemy patterns, how to survive when you're outnumbered, how to turn your weaknesses into weapons. Jinwoo helped, teaching pilots how to fly better, how to make impossible ships do impossible things. Yuna worked with engineers, using the captured data to plan strikes. Sora trained medics, spreading her knowledge to others who could save lives. The survivors from the prison ship became legends. The ones who broke free, the ones who struck back. New volunteers flooded to the resistance, inspired by their story. The alien advance slowed, then stopped, then started retreating. Humans, armed with knowledge and renewed hope, fought harder than ever. One day, Taeyang stood in front of a memorial wall. It listed names of the fallen. So many names. He added new ones. The volunteers from the prison ship, the fighters who died in space, friends he'd lost. He stopped at one name: Minji, the hacker who died in the first invasion, the woman who left Echo as a gift for whoever found her. Thank you, he whispered. You saved more lives than you'll ever know. Talking to walls now. Hana approached carrying 2 cups of coffee. Talking to friends. She handed him a cup. They drank in silence for a moment. Command wants to form a new unit, Hana said. Special operations. Deep strikes into alien territory. High risk, high reward. And they want me to lead it. They want us to lead it. Together. Taeyang looked at his sister. You know most special ops don't come home. Neither do resistance fighters. Neither do prisoners. But we're still here, he smiled. What do you want to call this unit? I was thinking something simple. Something that scares them. Reaper Squad? Exactly. Over the next week, volunteers arrived. Jinwoo joined immediately. Yuna came next. Sora, despite being a medic, signed up. Kyung had died in the battle. But others came. Humans who wanted to fight smart. Aliens who joined the resistance after being freed. The first mission briefing took place in a small room on Hana's ship. 20 fighters, all volunteers, all knowing the risks. Taeyang stood at the front. This is what we do. We hit fast. We hit hard. We hit where it hurts. The aliens think they've broken humanity. They think we're weak. They think we'll surrender. He looked at each face in the room. We're going to teach them they're wrong. Not with speeches. Not with hope. But with action. We're going to take the fight to them. Every depot they have. Every supply line. Every installation they think is safe. We're going to show them what happens when you push humans too far. When you take everything from us. When you think we're broken. His voice grew harder, colder. We're going to show them the Reaper. The team cheered. Not loud, not wild, but determined. Ready. After the briefing, Taeyang stood alone on the observation deck. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the aliens still controlled most of space. Somewhere out there, humans still fought for survival. But things had changed. The prison break proved something important. Humans didn't give up. Humans adapted. Humans survived. He thought about the 3 years in chains. The silence. The waiting. It had seemed like defeat. But it was preparation. Every day of patience was another day of learning. Another day of planning. The aliens had put him in chains. They thought it made him weak. They were wrong. Chains could be broken. Chains could be weapons. And chains could become symbols. A symbol that humanity would never truly be enslaved. Yuna joined him at the window. Thinking deep thoughts? Thinking about what comes next. More fighting. More sacrifice. More loss, yeah. Worth it? Taeyang looked at her. At this woman who'd whispered through a wall and changed everything. Who'd given him a reason to fight again. Every second. Behind them, Hana called out. Transport's ready. First mission launches in 1 hour. Taeyang nodded. He took one last look at the stars. 3 years ago, he'd been captured, broken, lost. But he'd been wrong about being broken. He'd just been waiting. Waiting for the right moment. The right word. The right reason to stand up again. That word had been simple. Reaper, a name the aliens gave him in fear. A name that meant death. A name that meant humanity's wrath, but to him it meant something else. It meant harvest. It meant reaping what you sow. The aliens had sown fear and oppression. They'd chained humans, tortured them, tried to break their spirits. Now it was time for the harvest. Taeyang turned from the window and walked toward the transport bay. His team waited. His sister waited. The fight waited. He'd been shackled in chains for 3 years. He'd waited in silence. But one word had changed everything. And now, the Reaper was going to show the aliens exactly what that word meant. The war wasn't over, not by far, but humanity had something the aliens didn't understand. Hope, stubbornness, and the absolute refusal to stay down. They'd learned it from a man who sat in chains for 3 years, planning, waiting, learning. And when the time came, he didn't just break free, he broke everything. The Reaper's harvest had only just begun, and the aliens would learn that humans, when pushed to the edge, didn't fall, they flew.